Maybe next week when we can go see the Annie movie?
Do you want your ice cream back?
Yes.
Well, you're not getting it, liar.
I am never going to see that movie!
Oh, yes, you are. We're gonna wear matching outfits.
I don't understand what's taking so long. Hey, Malcolm, have you seen Thad?
Nice try, Dave. You are not getting me again.
I can't believe this. We're stuck here waiting for power, and this guy is sitting there watching my TV. Thad! These juice-hungry hordes are sucking my power dry now. I need you to get up there.
Hey, Dave, chill out, man. I told him he can take a breather.
It has been hours, and we still have no power.
I know, but look around, man. I mean, the spirit that I'm feeling here, I haven't felt that in this neighborhood in a long time. I mean, people are actually enjoying each other's company. And Tuyin, she invited me to her Mahjong club. I mean, it's like spades, but Asian. So, if this is what getting off the grid gets you, then I'm not in a hurry to get back home.
It's kind of nice seeing everybody out like this, isn't it?
Yeah, man. So why don't you just sit back and relax? Have you some fire, man. Get some fire.
I'm down to 5.
This is an excellent party, Calvin.
Well, it is, isn't it?
I'm sorry about that.
All right, we're watching a tornado-warned cell come into the River Valley. We apologize for the live stream just a moment ago. Still making some switches. Now we are live on all platforms, but we got a tornado warning for Sequoia County as a strong supercell thunderstorm continues to march north and east. You can see the one with the lightning on it. This is very close to the Vian and Weber's Fall area. We've got a tornado watch in effect area-wide. Lots of severe thunderstorms just across Arkansas and into the deep south. But right now we've got heavy storms coming in northwest, but it's really this tornado warning that we have. We're watching the rotation just come right over the Arkansas River there towards Tamaha. This is moving north and east. If you live in Vian, Dwight Mission, and Sallisaw, especially between Sallisaw and Vian, right there along Highway 64, or as you go towards I-40, make sure you get in your safe place. And then this warning continues to extend throughout much of Sequoia County, especially towards Brushy, north towards Bellefonte, even north towards Greasy. Watch as this rotating storm moves in from the east. We've also had some hail with these storms too as they march in from the west. This is a live look in Bacola. Every once in a while you're going to see some of that lightning as the storm gets closer. So we're looking in LaFleur County and you're looking back towards the north and west towards Sequoia County as these storms start to march in. Here's another look at that rotating storm. You can see where the greens meet the reds. That's where you have this atmosphere spinning right now, where a potential tornado could form at any time as it's moving north and east. This thing's about to cross I-40 within the next 5 minutes. So if you live anywhere between Vian to Sallisaw, be on the lookout as this rotating storm is moving north and east about 40 to 45 miles per hour or so. This is going to be crossing 59 there towards Brushy here within the next maybe 15 minutes or so. So we're going to watch this rotating storm, tornado warning for Sequoia County as it moves north and east. Now, if you live anywhere in LaFleur County, I think you're good. You live south of the Kerr Reservoir Dam, you're good too. It's back here towards the west where we have that rotation, skimming the Vian area, and then west towards Sallisaw. I believe, Zach, do you got an update with?
Yeah.
Let's go ahead and here in a moment, we'll do camera 3 on the big board. Zach's going to have a timeline here in just a moment for you guys as we watch this storm come in from the west right now. A lot of lightning too. It looks like even in the past scan, there's been an uptick in some of this lightning. as it moves north and east. But this is really between Sallisaw and Vian where we're watching this rotation. LeFlore County, you're good, but you probably see some of the lightning as you look off towards the north and east. This is once again a live look in Bacola as you're looking back west towards the storm. Just a moment ago, we were seeing pretty frequent lightning, but of course now it's not going to show for a moment. But you're looking from the Choctaw Casino, you're looking north and west. We had a flash there just a moment ago. It's going to get brighter as the storm actually gets closer to Bacola itself. Here's another look back at the rotating storm. It looks like maybe the new scan just came in, still a tight rotation, maybe one click weaker, but right over Tamaha, that's where we're watching that rotation as it moves north and east. Once again, if you live in Sequoia County, you need to get to your tornado safe place.
All right, Matt, I do want to, I think we may be seeing maybe a debris signature showing
Let's
up.
look that up.
If you want to look at that, I have it pulled up here in just a second. I'll show you. We'll put our finger right here by Tamaha. Is that how you pronounce it? And again, we've got that classic signature right here. We've got the reds and the greens coming together. And then as we... there was a scan. We may have to go back. I was seeing it a little bit closer. There may have been, when the signature was a little bit tighter, there might have been a little bit of a debris signature trying to show up. This is kind of real messy
the past
right
15
here.
minutes for you?
Yeah. It's almost one of these where you have to overlay the velocity with the actual correlation coefficient there. I mean, if we're going to get a tornado, it's going to be right here. And again, the National Weather Service was talking about this just a couple of minutes ago. Me and Matt have been watching this. These storms are it's in an environment where actually as they move more towards the Arkansas-Oklahoma state line, the instability is going down. So typically you would say, okay, great, our severe threat's going down. But the wind shear, the spin in the atmosphere is actually increasing. And so the thought is, even from the National Weather Service, that these storms are just going to have the capabilities to pulse up and down, so to speak, with the rotation. Rotation is going to be able to strengthen rapidly and decrease rapidly. And you see it here in the last few scans, just the last 30 to 45 minutes here. You can see the bright green showing up, some of those reds really close to it. And again, this storm may have tightened up very quickly and may have produced a brief tornado just to the southwest there. Here's Interstate 40. Here's Sallisaw. So this rotation's just to the west of you. We can back it up here again. Again, this storm is moving so quickly, about 40 miles per hour. But here's Muldrow. Here's Brent. There would be our tornado right there just to the southwest of McKee. It's going to be heading right towards you. So if you're in McKee, you need to be in your safe place now. Brushy down the line. This rotation is moving directly to the northeast, right across Sequoia County. So Belafonte 801, Cherry Tree 807. If you recognize any of these locations, you live close to them, again, you could be seeing a potential tornado heading your way. And this storm's packing a punch with some gusty winds. Again, we're watching the hail potential with this and a lot of lightning, but it's going to have the capabilities to cycle through. It could tighten back up and try to produce another tornado for us. This is the only warm storm right now that we currently have. The thunderstorms that are moving into northwestern Arkansas at times had been warned either with thunderstorm warnings or tornado warnings. They've weakened some, but they too have the capabilities to rotate very quickly. So we're going to be watching these for you closely here over the next couple of hours. We saw one large wave of showers and thunderstorms move through as we went through the early and mid-afternoon hours. We've seen another wave of some scattered thunderstorms move through. Now we've got our third wave, really, of showers and thunderstorms currently pushing out of eastern Oklahoma into northwest Arkansas. Again, we have the one tornado warning here in Sequoia County. But we've got other scattered thunderstorms that continue to pulse up and down and develop. We're going to watch this wave of storms as it moves into western and northwestern Arkansas here over the next couple of hours. We've still got a front way back towards the west. We could even see a few more isolated thunderstorms try to fire up. So we're watching the thunderstorms moving through Delaware, Adair County, moving into Washington, Benton County. Right now, they're below severe limits, but we've got this thunderstorm here that is pushing through Sequoia County and has really tightened up with some low-level rotation, may have produced a tornado briefly. It certainly on radar looked like it was getting close to doing that. Of course, it's very dark outside now past sunset, so to get that confirmation would take a little while. We certainly have brought our storm chasers back in here as it's a very dangerous time to be chasing, but we'll look for that confirmation. If there is a tornado, it would be crossing I-40 currently right now. Matt, let me know when you...
Yeah.
if you've got some updates for us.
Just to kind of put some of this in perspective, you know, on the west side of Sallisaw, you got that racetrack there. It's kind of near the racetrack, the Sallisaw racetrack, and then back west towards the Sallisaw City Park. And so this is crossing I-40. It looks a little bit messier with just the latest scan right now, but it's still rotating. This storm is still rotating here on that south side. Notice just towards the north of the rotation, you got a lot of lightning, still a healthy thunderstorm. This is generally where we're seeing some of that hail. If you live a little bit farther north and west, there towards McKee Road, you get a little bit back west of McKee itself, and you head towards Pinhook Corner, Dwight Mission, Sycamore. That's where we're watching some more of the hail falling right now in northwestern LeFlore County. That's going to be headed towards Flute Springs and Marble City. But the rotation in itself, let me go ahead and put a quick track on this. Moving about 30 to 35 miles per hour. This one's a little bit slower than some of the other ones have been. And this is how these things go. They cycle. You know, you get a quick scan where it starts to spin up for maybe 5 to 10 minutes. You can get a brief tornado, and then it maybe weakens for a second. But we have lots of rotation in the atmosphere, but they're all different little pockets. So it depends on where these storms hit those pockets. Here's the latest look at some of the timelines for when the storm could reach your neighborhood. Brushy, getting close to 7:49, so just here in about 13, 14 minutes. Greasy just before the 8 o'clock hour, and then we cross into Arkansas, where we don't have a tornado warning yet, but once this thing moves eastbound, we'll have to watch in the Barcelona area. That's just across the state line into Crawford County. Similar story for Cedarville and Uniontown. Just kind of be on the lookout for this storm, but that would all be closer to next 40 minutes or so. So just kind of a heads up. If you live anywhere in western Crawford County, north of Van Buren, I think Van Buren we're going to be okay, but if you live north of Van Buren, that's where we'll watch this rotation a little bit later this evening. But it looks like the rotation has fully crossed I-40 and Highway 64, headed right towards McKee. There's the McKee Cemetery. You're going to be crossing over east 1050, and then headed north towards McCoy Cemetery, and then eventually crossing once you head towards the Brushy Lake Park. That's a little bit farther north, the Brushy Creek Reservoir. You're close to towards Marble City at that point. But this storm just now crossed that rotation, just now crossed the interstate and Highway 64. If you live closer to the Kerr Reservoir Dam, no longer do you have the threat for the rotation. So anyone south of Sallisaw, as you get over that bridge, a lot of folks fish there. I think you're fine in that location, but you go north and west of Sallisaw, that's where we're watching, right in the McKee area, right there near Sallisaw City Park. And then, talking about very rural northwestern Sequoia County, pretty much just north and west of the racetrack. You guys know where the racetrack is, but you go away from the interstate. That's where the rotation is right now. The track itself is about here. Most of the rotation is just north, so you can kind of see the relative location between racetrack and where you've got the rotation. But the latest scan has weakened it a little bit. Still a lot of lightning on the storm as it pushes north and pushes east. Here's a look at some of the hail that we have on this storm. At one point, you see the darker blue. We were dropping maybe quarter-sized hail at times with this storm, and now we've got some of the hail more in western Sequoia County. So maybe you're not going to get the rotation. Maybe you're getting some of that hail. Hail, big issue as well, right there over Vian, Dwight Mission, headed towards Flute Springs. So generally what happens is you get the hail on the north and west side, and you get the rotation on the south and east side. So you kind of have two parts to the storm. And where you have the hail, that's headed north towards Flute Springs, Marble City, Pinhook Corner, and Dwight Mission. Right there at the Dwight Mission Cemetery, headed north towards Marble City. And then you got that quarry that's just north of Marble City. That's where we've got some of this hail coming into. You can see some of the quarry and some of the more terrain, the higher terrain as you get into northern Sequoia County, right there towards Flute Springs. But then the rotation itself, let me head back, is still a little bit elongated. You don't have necessarily that tight couplet anymore. I'm going to switch this over to something called Storm Relative, see if we can clean this up a little bit. That maybe helped a bit. What you have is just the rotating air right now, kind of broad at this point, still potentially right there where you see the reds and greens coming together at any point, get a funnel cloud, or you could even drop a tornado. But it has elongated a little bit. That just shows some signs of weakening. That's right over Dwight Mission. This is north and west of Sallisaw. If you live in Sallisaw, maybe you're in your tornado safe spot. Stay there for a little bit longer. Give us maybe one more scan as this thing moves north and east, north of Sallisaw. But if you go on Highway 59, there towards Brushy, in fact, I think Stevens were there earlier this evening. That's where we're watching that rotation, headed towards Brushy, They're eventually probably crossing Arkansas 10 or Oklahoma 101. They're right along, I believe it's Wheeler Avenue, Highway 59, when you're going closer to the brushy area. Once again, tornado warning, Sequoyah County. With that rotation, they're right near Dwight Mission, moving north and east. I think if you live south towards Roland and Muldrow, I think you're going to be fine with this one because the rotation's a little bit farther north. We also have some storms that are now crossing into parts of northwest Arkansas. Zach, let me know in a moment when you may want to cover some of those. Because we got storms it looks like you've got on your maps crossing a little bit farther north. Of course, this is the only tornado-warned storm, so this is our main focus. But we've got storms pretty much area-wide crossing the Arkansas-Oklahoma state line. So if you're not getting a storm right now, be on lookout for maybe storms later this evening. But this is the only tornado-warned storm, the only tornado threat right now at this time. But we've got more storms off towards the north. Still a pretty good lightning pocket this as well. Zach, what do you got a little bit farther towards the north?
Yeah, we are tracking those scattered showers and thunderstorms. Again, we've still got meteorologist Stephen Elmore, meteorologist Stephen Abshire. They're looking at these storms. There's some gusty winds up there. We're watching to see if these storms are trying to rotate as well. There's some winds in there, a little rotation, maybe some broad rotation at times. Certainly some gusty winds. The lightning has been ticking up a little bit, and we've talked about that all night. That's one way you yourself at home can tell, is that storm getting stronger or is it getting weaker, or is it not really doing much? When the lightning ticks up, the intensity of these storms is going up. When the lightning goes down, these storms are weakening. So overall, we've watched the lightning pick up as this storm's rolled out of parts of Delaware, Adair County, and into parts of Benton and Washington counties. A little bit closer look here at home. Again, no severe warnings, no tornado warnings with these storms. They do have a history of being warned out in eastern Oklahoma, but very heavy rainfall and gusty winds coming into Siloam Springs, Gentry, Decatur, up to Gravette. The rain will be picking up in Bella Vista, Pea Ridge, west side of Bentonville, back down towards Centerton, over towards XNA, Highfill. Showers and thunderstorms coming in. We're watching these storms. Again, the atmosphere wants to potentially allow these storms to rotate very quickly, so we're going to keep our eyes on that for you. Again, of course, the tornado warned storm is back off towards the south, and it is racing off towards northeast very quickly. There have been some reports, maybe a few power flashes to the west of Salisaw as this storm was crossing the I-40 corridor. Again, it tightened up very quickly there. This is moving off about 40 miles per hour. Uniontown 811, Natural Dam 817. This is Sequoyah County. This is Oklahoma. Here's Fort Smith. Here's Van Buren. Off towards the southeast of this storm. You are not in this warning. You're close enough. You look out to the west and northwest, you're going to see quite the lightning show. You've had a few passing thunderstorms in Van Buren and Fort Smith, but you're quiet right now. Again, this storm will pass to your northeast. It's also got the potential for some hail to mix in as well. Again, let's take a look here at the velocity. We're looking here at the winds. We're trying to see, is there some rotation? Is it tightening? Is it weakening? Is it broad? It certainly looks a little bit more broad. You can see it yourselves there as it crossed the Arkansas River. You see the darker greens and the reds are closer to it. That's when it really tightened up to the southwest of the Arkansas River. Maybe, thankfully, as it got closer and then eventually crossed over I-40, it certainly, by looking at radar, looks like that rotation was weakening, becoming a little bit more broad. But that's what we've seen with the storms in Oklahoma and the storms in Arkansas as we've gone through the afternoon and now deeper into the evening hours. The ones that have been tornado warned, the ones that have produced damage even back near north of Hot Springs in the Hot Springs Village, the tornado warned storm that we had in Logan and Johnson counties earlier, they pulsed up very quick. They tightened very quick. Maybe produced anywhere from a funnel to maybe a tornado. Again, we'll be surveying all this over the next couple of days, seeing if there's any damage reports. But they've done it very quickly, and then they've cycled and kind of moved on, and then maybe later on tightened back up. That's just how it is. Sometimes we have events where these supercells, they tighten up, they rotate, and then they stay that way with a clear tornado signature for several miles. Tonight's setup is they're just going to, again, spin up very quickly. Not seeing anything too concerning. If anything, it looks like it's kind of gusting out here a little bit where we get that bow feature. You've got the greens. Again, the radar's back here towards Fort Smith, Van Buren. So the greens moving towards the radar, reds moving away. It looks like it could just be gusting out some. Of course, we'll want to continue to watch it to see if it tries to tighten up one more time. I will back out one more time for you. That's the only warned storm that we have right now. We're watching the showers and thunderstorms in Benton County. More shower and thunderstorm activity heading towards Fayetteville and Washington County. We're watching everywhere across 5 country. Thunderstorms in Madison County, not severe right now. And again, overall look pretty good. Isolated storms around Clarksville, more scattered thunderstorms, Waldron, Paris. Hey, Matt, this area has been hit hard. This is like the 3rd wave that's moved through, and this is very heavy rainfall. So the potential for some flash flooding in low-lying, poor drainage areas, not widespread, but certainly with this terrain, you could definitely have some water starting to pull up a little bit.
Can't quite get a break. Paris earlier had a funnel cloud. Zach, we got a live look there in Siloam Springs. Downpours as strong thunderstorms continue to cross the state line. You know, we've got winds right now reporting from the radar's perspective 40 to 50 miles per hour. We don't have an active severe thunderstorm warning right now with this storm, but I tell you what, it is gusty. It is windy, it is loud, it is bright as those lightning bolts continue to streak across the sky right now there in western Benton County. I may even have a quick view. Pause for just a quick moment. A quick view. This is a live look in Bacola. But I want to bring up Springdale. You're looking west there along Highway 412. You're going to see that thunderstorm off in the distance as it gets a little bit closer. We've got a lot of rain with these storms, so sometimes there's this rain curtain that blocks some of the light as you're looking off towards the west. But this is from the Holiday Inn ICAM looking west. There just a moment ago, you're looking at one of those RDOT cameras that's sitting there right next to the state line. You're looking west right along Highway 412 in Siloam Springs as we just had that deluge, just a big old downpour right now, gully washer there in western Benton County. But we'll continue to watch some of these cameras as the storms get a little bit closer. This is a live look in Bacola with some storms. As you look towards Sequoyah County, you're looking north and west. You may even see a bit of the edge of the clouds if you look closely. We need a couple more lightning strikes to see. Now, we haven't had the biggest lightning shows ever with these storms, but they are still pretty healthy. But I think you can start to see a little bit of the edge of that storm as you're looking here from Bacola and you're looking towards Sequoyah County. We're in northern LaFleur County, so it's not very much longer, maybe at 20 miles, 25 miles as the crow flies as you look towards Bacola. Let me go ahead and pull the radar back up real quick for us. We'll kind of show you a wide view. Of course, we still have that tornado warning storm. Rotation has died off a bit. We're going to check the rotation just back in a second, but tornado warning still includes Sequoyah County. And then we've got strong thunderstorms that continue to move into the northwest Arkansas metro area. Here's a closer look at that rotation. You can see it's just kind of messy now. We still have the atmosphere is still spinning, but it's not necessarily spinning tight enough to really pose an immediate threat. But if you are in the tornado warned area, you need to make sure that you're in your tornado safe spot, because I tell you, one scan can change completely. But right now it has weakened a bit, but we may see this pick up as it gets closer to the Arkansas-Oklahoma state line. But I would say, Sallisaw, you guys are now in the clear. We still have some heavy rain around us at times. And remember, we had a couple reports, Zach was just talking about some power flashes west of the racetrack. So generally when you get power flashes, you know, something could try to be reaching the ground, even if it's brief. It could even be 15 seconds. That's what happens with some of these storms. Of course, these scans only come in every 4 to 5 minutes, right? And so things can happen in between the scans really quick. But we are watching the rotation, but it has weakened quite a bit. So that is good news to report to you guys. This rotation itself is right over the Marble City area and moving to the east right now. Take a closer look. That would be closer to Stony Point. Stony Point's just a little bit, kind of, you see the L, that backwards L. Stony Point's about right here. If you live in the Stony Point area, you need to be watching, looking forward towards that tornado warned area, the circulation. New tornado warning being issued by the National Weather Service as they're going to trim this whole thing back towards the west, because it looks like we pretty much cleared out from this storm, specifically west of McKee. So west of the racetrack, we're now looking a lot better, vying back west towards Weber's Falls. So we have that trimmed tornado warning, still technically includes Sallisaw, but most of the threat is north of town. Once you get right outside of town, once you're passing there on Highway 59, you got that U.S. Coast Guard station. You go north of that Emmanuel Baptist Church. You're going north, right north of the hospital there, with the Northeastern Health System there in Sequoyah. As you're looking towards the Sallisaw High School football field, so it's north of the football field now is really that threat. You go south of the football field, I think you guys are fine. That would include most of downtown Sallisaw. So football field northbound is where we're still kind of watching some of that rotation. Another scan just came in, a little bit fuzzy there along the edges. Still rotating storm, but not as quite intense as it was earlier. It's going to be crossing Highway 59 though here shortly, where you get towards the kind of the bend in Highway 59. If you guys know that Dollar General there, just north of Brushy, that's where this rotation is headed towards here within the next 5, 6, 7 minutes. So if you live anywhere near the Dollar General that's north of Brushy, that's where we're going to be watching that rotation move north there towards the Rocky Point Cemetery. And you're looking north of that Ted's Business Supply. They're just north of Brushy. So you go north, go past Ted's, you kind of wrap towards Dollar General. That's generally where this rotating storm is headed to right now. I'll go ahead and go back to, I think I had hail. It looks like the hail has started to drop off a bit. That shows another sign of some weakening as this thing moves off towards the north and east. Zach, you got an update for us?
Yeah, sorry, I hit the wrong button there for you. But yeah, I was looking at the velocity signature here. It almost looked like, and tell me what you think here. It looked like it was gusting out there a little bit. We've got a little bit of the backward sea.
Yeah.
But then maybe to the west, northwest of Brushy, that would be the area that maybe is trying to tighten back up a little bit. And again, it's very, very broad right now, but you kind of get a little bit of an inflow notch there. It seems like it kind of wants to tighten back up a little bit.
Yep, and like you said earlier, you can get a scan where it's weaker, and don't be surprised if the next scan gets stronger. So that's why we're saying, you get north of Brushy, they're on Highway 59, excuse me, get north of Brushy, and we still need to be in our tornado safe places just because this thing can spin up at any time.
Yeah, it's heading off towards the northwest. They brought the speed down a little bit, 35 miles per hour, but that's still pretty quick. You don't have a lot of time, really. This is why we always talk about you got to know where you're going to go at home. That's already got to be established, well before. And obviously, we think about springtime a lot, and then you let your guard down. But anytime we start saying, hey, a couple days from now, we could see some severe weather, that's when you got to prepare. And when we talk about preparing, we talk about knowing, okay, if I'm at work, where am I going to go? If I'm at home, where am I going to go? You want to be in that most interior room of the office building or of your home, and you want to put as many walls between you and the outside as possible. Again, this storm tightened up, and it's dark, it's late, there's not a lot of chaser out there, not a lot of people can see, but it may have tried to produce a brief tornado. It certainly looked like it was capable of it on radar. We're getting some reports and maybe some power flashes out there. Again, so at the very least, some strong winds, some lightning, and again, that's been moving off towards the northeast. So potential rotation now moving to the northwest of Brushy, moving off towards the northeast. This is far eastern Oklahoma. This is Sequoyah County. That's Adair County that now has a thunderstorm warning out. We'll get the latest information on that. So that's heads up to you, moving off towards the northeast into Washington County. That will be Fayetteville down the line. Again, this is the most concerning storm that's tightened up, maybe produced a tornado near the to the south of I-40 there. And that's moving off towards the northeast now around 35 to 40 miles per hour, 751 for Keeler Park and 803 for Bell School there. Here's a look at the thunderstorm off towards the north. Scattered thunderstorms here across Benton County. Again, inundating Gravette, Decatur, Gentry, Siloam Springs, seeing very heavy rain, some gusty winds, and plenty of lightning coming through below severe limits. It's the storm off towards the south. Again, this cluster now with a severe thunderstorm warning moving through Adair County. Projections will take that towards Fayetteville here over the next hour. We could see some gusty winds up around 60 miles per hour possible. That's more radar indicated. We haven't had any ground truth with that with a measurement. But I'll tell you, some of these storms already in the last couple of hours have produced some strong winds. It was up near Pryor, Oklahoma, that reported an 81 mile per hour wind gust just a couple hours ago. So again, the atmosphere is conducive, like we've been saying all day in the last couple of days. We know we're going to see widespread scattered showers and thunderstorms off and on through the afternoon and the evenings with a few severe storms mixed in, and that's certainly what we've seen here from parts of Arkansas back into Oklahoma. So currently we do have an active tornado warning in Sequoyah County and possible rotation just to the north, Brushy. We're watching that. Storm looks like it's cycling a little bit here. So what we once saw near the county line there to the south of I-40, that had a more clear indication of rotation on the radar. Not seeing it as much right now, but it could spin up. And then we're watching this cluster of storms also to the north with the potential for some 60 mile per hour wind gusts and also maybe up to some quarter-size hail. Matt?
Hey, we got a report from the National Weather Service, and meteorologist Stephen Elmore, he brought this to our attention. The National Weather Service is now saying, it gets tricky, possible tornado report earlier there south of McKee, between McKee and the Salisal racetrack. Power flashes were reported there. So what the National Weather Service may do tomorrow after all this gets out, they may go ahead and investigate. I'll move the map real quick, see what I'm talking about. So you're hugging right next to I-40, I-40 and 64. Let me get the pointer. All right, you guys see the pointer now? Okay, so you've got I-40 and you've got Highway 64. The racetrack is about here-ish. Tornado report somewhere between McKee and then the racetrack. So that's something that they'll go ahead and probably investigate tomorrow once the severe weather threat is done. But that's how quickly these things happen. Tornado can pop down on the ground even for 30 seconds to a minute and then lift right back up. And so that's the threat that we continue to watch. Of course, we still have some hail threats too. But overall, this storm looks a little bit weaker. But I tell you what, when you look at these storms that continue to cross from Oklahoma into Arkansas, they all have some slight rotation to them. Now, the question is enough rotation in order to produce a tornado? That's key. Right now, we may be in a safe place for the next 5 minutes. You know, we can really only go 5 minutes after 5 minutes because of those radar scans. However, at any point, some of these storms that you see crossing, especially the ones that kind of blow up real quick, notice this one back west towards Tahlequah, grows up real quick, get some lightning on it too. That means you've got a strengthening storm. Especially the southern ends of these, they can all rotate. Lots of rotation in the atmosphere right now as we're watching the cold front come in from the west. Generally, once the cold front passes, your severe threat goes down. Stray shower could pop up behind, but mainly the action is ahead of the cold front as it taps into those 70s. Guys, we had new record highs both in the northwest Arkansas area and River Valley area. Fort Smith, we hit 77 today. We shouldn't have hit 77 this time of year. In Fayetteville, we hit 76. The previous record was 71. Blown past those record highs. Tornado watch still in effect, but notice how back towards the west, this thing's starting to get eroded over time. As that front passes through, the tornado threat will go down. Right now, still an active tornado warning. This tornado warning still goes until for the next 4 minutes. We'll see if the National Weather Service decides to reissue. But what they've kind of done, you can see, there's a severe thunderstorm warning for Adair County. And so what they're doing is saying, hey, we still got a particularly dangerous storm. Maybe the rotation's not what it was, but at any time, if it starts spinning up, they'll create a tornado warning right over where the severe thunderstorm warning was. So that's kind of the situation we're in. Good thunderstorm back off towards just west of the state line. You know, you're just going up 59, right there from Brushy north, past Greasy, towards Cherry Tree, towards Stillwell. Right in here, it's just covering right over 59. Heavy rain, good downpours, also some frequent lightning too. And then you look back towards the north, you're thinking, hey, I've got rain going on right now in my neighborhood. What's the storm look like? Good, healthy thunderstorm in Benton County, Bentonville, especially Bentonville West, Centerton. Heavy rain coming in for us. Downtown Bentonville, get ready, right there towards the square. Heavy rain coming in for us too. Rogers, we're dry at the moment. That's probably going to change here shortly. We got heavy rain back west, more along Highway 412 as you get towards, just west of Taneytown, kind of in between where you got that foresty area between Salem Springs and Taneytown. Heavy rain for us. We've got more heavy rain coming into Washington County too. Got downpours now approaching the University of Arkansas. These are not severe, but boy, there's some good heavy rainfall coming in right towards Greenland, right there at the exit for Greenland. You got the gas station, you got the McDonald's right there. Heavy rain coming in for you guys. West Fork, heavy rain just kind of scooting around the area. Rain could fall at any time for some of us, depending on where you live and kind of what mountain ridge you live on in parts of West Fork south to Winslow and Chester. That's where we've got some more good downpours. But right now, the active warnings include southern portions of Adair County from Stillwell south to Greasy, powerful storm with gusty winds and some pockets of hail. Sometimes we've had pockets of hail up to quarter sized. And we've had more reports across Oklahoma earlier this evening. And then still we have that tornado warning time right now, 7:58, just 2 minutes until we hit the expiration time for this tornado warning. But we'll watch. If this goes ahead and is expired, we're going to take a quick pause, and then we'll hop back on as more storms cross into Arkansas, and we kind of show just an area-wide view. Zach, do you got anything before we watch this storm and get the update here in about 2 minutes?
Yeah, I'm watching that storm to the north there a little bit, and Stephen Abshire and Stephen Elmore have been watching it as well. It has tried to tighten up a little bit. You can kind of see the hook there just to the south, or I shouldn't say a hook, but it's a broken line. So again, you have to watch those southern ends. And you were saying this just a little bit ago, that you kind of have to watch the southern ends of these lines. But there has been some at times, maybe some weak rotation that's tried to get going there south and southeast of Siloam Springs. Here's a look at the hail tracker real quick for the storm that is in Benton County. Again, showing maybe some very small pea-sized hail out in eastern Oklahoma. We'll watch to see if those hail cores can continue to track in this way. Here's what I've been watching. Again, at times, it's tried to get going, and that's what it looks like on some of those other storms in Oklahoma. At times, it starts out a little broad, gets a little bit tighter, so that's an area that we want to watch. Again, this storm is not warned, but the storm further off towards the south is, and I'll give you the latest track on that I have for you. Again, severe thunderstorm warning coming out of Adair County, moving off towards the northeast. I've tracked it all the way out to Lincoln, 807, Prairie Grove, 817, 823 Farmington, 830. If it holds together to the northeast around 45 miles per hour, it would be moving into the Fayetteville area again around 830. Potential for 60-mile-per-hour wind gusts and up to quarter-size hail. Matt?
Looks like they're expiring that tornado warning. You'll see eventually it drop off. What they've done instead is issue a severe thunderstorm warning for the southern end of that complex as it's moving towards the north and east right now. So still some rotation, just not as impressive. That's what's going on with a lot of these storms. There's rotation. You can see it spinning a little bit. We can go ahead and switch things back over to the velocity where we analyze just the winds of the storms. And you can see all these little pockets that you think, Matt, what's going on there? Zach, what's that? You've got pockets of rotation. They're just a bit weak right now, but who's to say here in the next 5 minutes or so they may strengthen up? Because overall, we continue to watch that south wind move in and help bring more unstable air. I think we got an update from the National Weather Service kind of looking at some of that. We call it instability, basically fuel for these storms as they come in. We still have the potential for some rotation as these storms move east because we haven't had very many spinning thunderstorms yet over Washington County and northern Crawford County. If this thing can tap into some of that, we'll get more of a couplet again. We'll get another tornado warning. So that's something you got to look out for. If you live in Washington County, just want to stay weather aware. You see the tornado warning drop now. Now you just have the severe thunderstorm warning, kind of got two, but really one, including from Stillwell south to about Brushy, there on Highway 59, north of the Dollar General from Brushy, headed north, eventually into parts of Adair County. Good amount of lightning on this storm, but once again, rotation weak. We just got a new scan in. We continue to watch some of these. You know, we've got general rotation. At any time, some of these could try to spin up just a little bit more, but we're watching the storm. You see that right there? We see this kind of moving north and east. All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and pause. We're going to regroup as a weather team. As soon as tornado warnings, we'll hop back on. We'll probably hop on our digital platforms here soon as we watch general thunderstorms. But necessarily, if you're watching on TV, on 5 News, we're only be cutting in when we've got those tornado warnings. Right now, just a severe thunderstorm warning. These things could spin up at any time. Make sure you keep it local, keep it here. As always, we'll keep you advised.